Well, this is about the last thing we need right now, but it is breaking news today from the president's official Twitter account. Upon information and belief, Iran or its proxies are planning a sneak attack on U.S. troops and or assets in Iraq. If this happens, Iran will pay a very heavy price indeed. I've been worried about this, that our enemies will see us as the massive tortoise that has retreated into its shell, and they will be circling, and then they will try to strike. Even enemies that themselves are wounded right now. Remember, the mullahs, they don't respond to the needs of their own people. They don't care that an estimated 15,000 people have died from COVID-19 in Iran. And you're going to feel terrible for Iranian people, Chinese people. Their governments are just horrific. And it's not, speaking of horrific governments, it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that Chinese have been so terribly dishonest and disgraceful about this whole situation. Remember, when I say the Chinese, just for the record, it's the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. I'm not talking about 1 billion Chinese who just want to go about their days, love their families, and go to sleep at night. Like, I get it. But the CCP is the same organization that, it's the same government that still presides over 1 million Uyghurs in concentration camps. They ended, but they had for a long time, the one-child policy, forced sterilization, forced abortion. I mean, it's a deeply immoral government. It's not even amoral. It is immoral. It is an evil government. And so that means that there's a lot that they're willing to do and a lot that they're willing to justify in their conduct, or rather, perhaps they don't feel the need to justify much of anything. So that's where this is right now. The Chinese government doesn't care that the world is, the Chinese government doesn't care what's happened to its own people as long as it can maintain power. And the Iranian government may be trying to externalize or draw attention away from its failures with an attack on U.S. troops. Think about this. The Iranians are getting crushed by COVID-19 right now. They're losing people all over the place. And they're assuming that the president's tweet is correct, the information is accurate. They're planning attacks on the U.S. Now, maybe nothing happens here, but they should know better. I mean, I'll tell you this. Anybody that pokes America right now, that goes after, do you think anybody would question a really heavy response? I mean, the response would have to be more than proportional. The response would have to be punitive. If someone comes after American interests when we are on lockdown from this virus, and I mean comes after us and tries to kill Americans right now, our response should be fearsome and should be sending a message well beyond what we would see in normal times. And I would leave it to this administration to figure out what that is. I have no doubt that would also be Trump's move. Governments are run by people, and people have emotions, and people have feelings. It's not mechanical. And we are going through the biggest crisis we have had since the Second World War right now. And Iran wants to play games. Be very unwise. Look, there will be a series of major geopolitical shifts that occur just over the course of this virus. Over the next 12 months, there are going to be things that happen that no one can predict right now, but in retrospect, there'll be seismic shifts that everyone will say, how did we miss that? Maybe it is the downfall of the Iranian regime. Maybe it is finally, my friend Gordon Chang wrote The Coming Collapse of China back in the early 2000s. Maybe the Chinese Communist Party finally comes under real pressure. I think that's unlikely. If anything, they're ascendant and probably in an even stronger position, but we don't know. We don't know. What if the Wuhan numbers are mirrored in other parts of China, and there's a real popular sense of enough is enough? I'm telling you that there's going to be major geopolitical shifts over the next 12 months. One of the worst ones for us would be if it turns out that the U.S. is no longer the reserve currency. And I know this is a little bit of a digression from what we're talking about right here, but I just have to think, I own some cryptocurrency, not a lot because I don't have a lot of money. I own some cryptocurrency, and if you're not seeing cryptocurrency skyrocket now, you got to wonder when is that going to happen? This feels like the whole thing was kind of a scam, doesn't it? I don't know. And some of you are going to get mad at me for saying that, but oh yes, blockchain technology. Yeah, that's cool. But is cryptocurrency as valuable as people were being led to believe a few years ago? Oh man, those were the days. What was it? 3 years ago now in December, the cryptocurrency was just skyrocketing, and the country was at peace, and things were good. And I think about the first 3 years of the Trump administration. I almost tear up. It was such a, we've had, this show has been so good. We've grown so fast. I feel like I've been so proud of the work that we've been putting in here. The work product, I should say. Everyone works hard. I don't mean that, but I mean I'm proud of what we've done as a show, and it's just been an amazing time in American history and American life, and I knew it. I think I told you this. I sat down. I told my mother in December, right around when I told you that I had that premonition, which I've played for you on the show, of something really bad is going to happen in 2020. I didn't know what it was, so it's not really that useful. It's kind of like Bin Laden determined to attack America back in 2000. Okay, where, how, and when? But I knew something really bad was going to happen just because things were too good. Things were too prosperous, too peaceful, too happy, despite all the, Russia and all the stuff that the libs were yelling about. And I sat down and I looked at my mom and I just said, I just want to go on. I just want to say this, that my life is good enough, peaceful enough, happy enough, fulfilled enough that I know this will not last, but if this were my everyday, I would want for nothing, basically, And I still want a family and kids. I mean, so there's some things that were missing in a sense, but just in terms of general happiness and it was largely driven, I think, by a sense that this country was in such a good place. There was an optimism, a positivity that was out there all over the place. And I bring that up now, one, it's just a point of nostalgia, to remind myself and hopefully remind all of you that is a place where as a nation we have been recently, and we can get back there. I don't know how long it will be, and it's going to be a struggle. And the same thing I always say about anybody that's having contractors or construction repair done of any kind, whatever they tell you, it's going to be 3 times that long. I think, unfortunately, but it's a pretty good rule of thumb. I think, unfortunately, that's going to be true about us getting back to where we were as a country. But I also think that we need to be reminded sometimes of how good things have been so that we know that they're not going to stay like this. And they can be. It is possible to have a country where everyone's wages are going up. Not everybody, but in general, wages are going up. We're not in any big wars. We're not under threat of major terrorist attacks. We're not suffering from a pandemic. We live in a time of tremendous abundance and security and amazing food and amazing culture and access and technology. And that was and that I was saying enjoy it. Other shows are, they're destroying the country and this is terrible and people yelling about everything. That's what they were doing when things were really good. I don't do that. I was telling you that things were really good and that we should have enjoyed them. We had struggles, we had fights, we had things that we needed to focus on, but overall. And now I can't tell you that. I'm worried. In fact, I go back and forth between wanting to tell you what I think is really happening and not wanting to just sort of add to that. It's a delicate balance. I've been talking to the people closest to me about it every day when I go on this show. I mean, I feel such an obligation to those of you who listen, to the huge numbers of people. It's a very powerful and really, to me, sacred thing to be able to be in the Freedom Hut, and which is now in my home because we all have to be on home lockdown, and be able to talk to people all across the country and have you hear my voice. And whether I'm rolling along with you, if you're driving a truck or a car, or I'm in your living room or hanging out in the kitchen while you're cooking and trying to inform you and just keep you company. And you're all keeping me company too. Doing this feels like this is my human connection right now. But I try every day to make sure that I'm making the best usage of your time. Every day we do this show, and it's really a challenge right now to hit that balance between where do I think this is going and how do I keep us all feeling positive and inspired to go forward. And, I've had some mornings here where it's been really tough. I've woken up and I've thought, how do I approach this one? What do I do? Not just with the show, but it feels a little bit like you're in prison in a sense. I mean, it's a very nice prison. You've got your refrigerator and your Netflix and your whatever, but I still have my purpose, which is to do this. But all the other things around in my life, those always enrich this show. And I know a lot of you have the same thing going on. Maybe you're still doing, a lot of you are probably still doing your jobs, either remotely, or maybe you're going in and you're on the front line in some capacity, either on logistics or the fight against the virus. Maybe you're doing all those things. But we're now missing those other components that enrich our day-to-day experience and make us better at the things that we do to produce, make us better at the things that are our work product, whatever that may be, whether it's showing up and scanning groceries, if you're a podcaster yourself, if you're a nurse, if you're a truck driver, if you're a finance guy, whatever, all these things. So there's going to also have to be some times here where I just speak to you, from the heart about what I'm feeling and what I see going on, because I think we all need that. And I will not, I'll make you this promise, I will not give in to despair, and I will not ever come on this show and allow my concerns about what's happening to mean that I start to take us down a path where I'm leaning on you. I'm here to present you with truth and stories and facts that help you, entertain you, and push us all forward. But I'm just saying that never before have I felt like striking the balance between speaking truth and not being a pessimist was so challenging. And maybe this is something I'll return to tomorrow with some more time. I know we will win, and I feel like everyone's saying this, and we need to, it's one of those things you need to keep hearing. You know how even if you're not, you didn't do the best job in a sports game or something, but your parents are there, and afterwards they say, you did a great job. You fought hard. And even if that's, it's kind of true. Like, you did fight hard, but maybe you didn't have the best game. Maybe you missed maybe you missed a couple of passes you should have caught, or you whiffed at home plate, whatever it may be. But you still need to hear that. We all need to hear that we're going to be okay and we're going to get through this, even though we know there are big challenges ahead. Big challenges from the virus, from the economy, from the government response to it, our relationships as a society with each other, the strain that this is putting on us at every level. This is going to be a test like we've never really had before. And I'm also, I think it's important that we get psychologically geared up for this is not even going to, we're not even going to really see daylight on this, so to speak, until June. And that's the earliest. And that's when things will maybe start to settle down a little bit. That's really what I'm feeling right now. Now, I've said that for a while. I said on the WOR show, and I think I said it on this show too. Sorry. Sometimes I can't remember which, because I do 2 radio shows a day now. I can't remember exactly what I've said on which show. But I definitely said, producer Mark and I will be having margaritas on the street in June. That was at least 3 weeks ago, I think I said that. And it's looking increasingly like June, maybe July. But June seems like a pretty good start. This end of April lockdown thing, okay, they're going to bring the curve down, but they're not going to open things up in a meaningful way in May and risk having the numbers skyrocket again. The only thing that really changed, the only real game changer we have here is if somebody comes up with a real silver bullet treatment against this. If you ever prayed for anything and you believe that is helpful for things in this worldly kingdom, please pray for that. And that will be, I don't think I've ever cried from a news story before, from joy. I don't think I've ever cried tears of joy. We get a treatment that knocks this thing out, and I will go on air and probably talk to you about it, and I'll be crying tears of joy. That's how much of a change it will be for this country and for the whole world. So, and there's a part of me that just has to believe that we'll get there sooner than later. We have so many smart individuals, so much research and work going on. A part of me believes we got to get there. So that's the most optimistic feeling I have right now. Let's do roll call. All right, roll call. Let's do it. JJ kicks us off here with, hey, Buck, I see your bobcat and raise you a Pallas cat. Or is it a Pallas? Pallas? Have you seen them? They're ridiculously adorable looking, but are so vicious, they'll laugh at you as they slowly flay the skin from your face if you do not pet them correctly. Check them out. Thanks for keeping us safe and warm at night. I've never heard of a Pallas. Have you heard of this, Producer Mark?
I have not.
Oh. Also called a manul, is a small wildcat with a broad but fragmented distribution in the grasslands and steppe of Central Asia. Huh. It's kind of like a Mongolian bobcat, sort of.
Doesn't
people
look like
these,
something I want to
People have
pet.
these as pets?
Yeah.
Pallas cats, this is just from Wikipedia. This is not from any real research, just so you know. So people, if you're like, you're just doing Wikipedia, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a radio show. I gotta tell you something. Pallas cats, while adorable to look at, should not be kept as pets. Not only is it difficult for them to survive at low altitudes, but they are truly wild animals. A Pallas cat kept as a pet would be miserable. It would make you miserable too. Okay, well, I mean, they look really cute, I gotta say. It's kind of like a big, fluffy, grumpy cat. Producer Mark, you might have a new pet. You might have a new pet.
No, I don't like cats, Buck.
Well, this cat wouldn't like you. How about that?
I don't think it would like anybody, Buck.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Apparently, they rip your face off. So, yep. All righty, here we go. All right, Ian, longtime daily listener. Just wanted to tell you to drop a line and hang in there. I could tell by Buck's tone the first 5 seconds on Monday that things are getting really bad. Hope you guys know that your family's in our thoughts. Yeah, thank you, Ian. It has been very tough here. It has been Monday was rough. Monday was a rough day, and especially because last week I started to think, all right, we're going to batten down the hatches. We're going to start getting people back to work, the 15 days, and then it's not the 15 days. It's another 30 days. We're not going back to work. We're not taking that risk at all. That felt a little bit like whiplash. I'll be honest. That was a little, I was like, all right. I was ready to put a face mask on and start showing up to the office again, and I thought, all right, this is what we're going to start doing. Nope. Not happening. On Monday, you discussed the lack of preparation from the CDC and how we're basically hoping for a miracle from the pharmaceutical companies. Wait, hold on one second, Ian. I'm gonna come back and address the rest of your roll call here in just a moment. But yeah, no, we are hoping for something of a miracle from the CDC. That much is from the pharmaceutical companies rather. That much is definitely true. All right, continuing with this roll call note from Ian. I agree with your analysis, Buck. Here in Colorado, the drug companies and the hospitals have been the favored thing that gets attacked of our Democrat governor. While criticism in specific cases has been deserved, I find it very rich that the industry the left has been demonizing for the last 15 years is now expected to be our saviors. All of a sudden, we don't hear anything about profit margins and drug prices. The irony is rich. It's just unfortunate that it took a crisis like this to expose it, not that it would ever be pointed out in the corporate media. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for continuing your show through all this. I know we'll make it out. I don't know what things will look like when we do, but I know we'll make it. Shields high. Ian, you're a wise fellow, and I appreciate you writing in, and I agree with you that the demonization of Big Pharma, especially given how we are turning to Big Pharma now and saying, please save us, basically, that's really where we are. I mean, the only way that this doesn't stretch really through this year, and I mean till the end of the year, and take us into a place where we're in a slightly better position but still dealing with this 12 months from now, is if pharma comes up. I mean, we're still, this disease is not just going away. And all the talk about mitigation measures and distancing and everything, I guess we're going to have to keep doing that for 6, 9, 12 months. Maybe not at the same extreme of shutdown we are in right now, but I'm not sure. As I've been saying, well, why not? If the logic is we can't afford it, we're going to lose far too many lives unless we have the extreme shutdown scenario. Okay, well, are we not going to be losing lives in June and July and August? Well, anyway, I know. Stiff upper lip. We'll make it through. We'll make good choices. We'll be all right. But yeah, I I really hope that the people that are studying this, and there's some big pharma companies and some of these world-class minds that are on it, I hope they realize that this is their chance. This is the chance for science to save civilization, really. That's what we're seeing. I don't think we're going to have a total collapse of civilization over this. That's a little extreme, but you know what I mean. This would be a huge win. A huge, huge win. Okay. Man, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that would be the happiest thing ever. We should know more about chloroquine and about some of these other treatments that are underway in the next couple of weeks. And even if they're mostly useful, even if they're mostly good, that would be a big improvement from where we are right now. Chad, hey Buck, great show. Love your use of language. Quick prediction: I see the U.S. handing China a bill for all the costs and expenses caused by the COVID-19 outbreak, and all but eliminating our national debt with China. Shields high, team. Chad. Chad, I said this today on the show, so you're kind of getting ahead of where I was, that I could see demands from the international community for China to pay reparations, the Chinese government. Now, they won't pay it, but I could see a movement toward that, especially as we get more information about just how dishonest the Chinese have been in this process and what that has meant for the world. I just think it's very, very clear that the Chinese government is directly responsible for a lot of the carnage and the destruction that we're seeing all over the world. So I don't see a way around that. And there's, it's an immoral regime that made an immoral choice, and now we're all paying the price for that. We're all paying the price for it. And the people that have been saying for a while that China is not some government that we should cozy up to, that who was the first president in decades that wanted to confront China? Let's give credit where it's due. It was Donald Trump. Who was the first president to come along from either party and really say this nonsense with China on the predatory trade practices and all the rest has to stop? It's Donald Trump. Yeah. Remember they said, the trade war is going to... No, the trade war didn't ruin us. The Chinese government is ruining us right now through this virus. Roy. Hey, Buck, just look at your picture of 6th Avenue. I moved my youngest daughter from New York City down here to Texas last year. I'm glad we've got her here in Texas. Hang in there, Buck. Listen to you every day. Roy. Yeah, Roy. Thanks, man. I don't have, my whole family's here. We're all in New York City, so we're all in lockdown. Not a fun place to be. And, the people who work, maintenance and, people who are, the handyman for the building that I live in, things. Everyone's wearing face masks now. I don't have a face mask. I got to get one. Go online. I can't find one. Can't buy them in stores. I got to go on the whole, after being told no face mask. Now it's, get a face mask, but it's kind of too late. Don't hoard toilet paper. I feel like it's only a matter of time before, sorry, we got about a 4-week wait on toilet paper now. So if you were a hoarder, you're going to be fine. But the rest of us are going to be, taking really excessive showers every day. Whew. Yeah, no, I'm glad you got your daughter out of New York City. I got to tell you, I don't think New York City is ever really going to be the same, because now this is real to people, and they're not going to want to live in such close quarters. They're not going to want to deal with the subway. They're not going to want this anymore. That's going to have a huge effect. And we're also getting much more comfortable with working from home, with telecommuting, with leveraging technology for the purposes of professional productivity. I think that's going to have a real mark, leave a real mark, or be a real change. Leave a mark, sorry. That's not really the way I meant to say that. That's going to be a real change. I have to see. I have to see where it all goes. Chrissy and Pete, Buck, love the show. My wife and I listen every day. We are truck drivers all over our great country, hauling medical food and supplies from coast to coast. Life is good. Yeah, different, but good. We know the extended lockdown is hard, but your show Monday was way too depressing. We all get it. It sucks. But you got to stay up with the facts. But also remember, we are a great country. We will survive. There's enough doom and gloom. Hang in there. Life is good. We need to keep doing our job. We need you so we can keep doing our job. Chrissy and Pete, man, I'm sorry if Monday I was a little too down. It was just a tough day here, and it's a tough day here in New York, given what we've been told. the whole city's under quarantine, and we got 30 days of this, and it's scary out there, man. I mean, every morning I wake up and I have this moment where I think, am I breathing okay? Do I have a fever? Every morning. And it's not strange. I know plenty of people now who have been in close and continued contact with somebody who has COVID-19. I know plenty of people. So it's just a matter of time before some people that I know have it, and hopefully at that point the hospitals will be better able to deal with this, and hopefully anyone I know who gets it won't even have to go to a hospital. But yeah, no, like guys, I got to stay positive. It's hard, I do a New York specific show, and then I also do this show. This is the main show. This is my 3-hour syndicated broadcast every day. And I know for a lot of you, you're not dealing with this the same way that we are here in New York. So it can be a disconnect, right? And I'm not, I don't know. I'm not in the prediction business anymore for sure. But I'm not convinced that this is going to spread to the rest of the country the same way that a lot of the authorities, I should say, spread in a New York-like fashion to the rest of the country, which seems to be baked into some of the models, but maybe not. Maybe not. Who knows? Who knows? Rick writes, hey, Buck, yesterday you were talking about the Tiger King. For similar viewing, you might want to check out Fatal Attractions. It's currently on Hulu. It's a series about people who make questionable choices for pets. Tigers, bears, hippos, even a hyena. Interesting stuff. Shields high. Rick, I saw the elephant in the living room, which is a documentary about a guy who has like disability from back pain and lives in a trailer in Ohio and has 2, I think, 800-pound African lions in his backyard. So not somebody that you would generally think would have 2 full-grown African lions as pets, but he does, and that's the show. I've seen, I think, that years ago. I think I saw that Fatal Attraction series. The one thing, first of all, Fatal Attraction itself is a movie that every guy should watch, and gal, but it's kind of instructive viewing. You want to, you see, crazy can go bad in ways, romantic relationships. It's important to know what's out there sometimes. I'm just saying, Fatal Attraction's a good movie. But of all the animal choices that people make, the one that of the exotic animals as pets, the one that I find just the most mind-boggling is the highly venomous snake. And a lot of times like they'll have some British guy somewhere who's like, I just really wanted a spitting cobra. And I just thought it'd be like a cool pet. And so I went to like this guy online and like I got it. And then I had a spitting cobra and then, crikey. It just like spat in my eye and then it bit me hand. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And you're like, yeah, it's a spitting cobra. You don't want that in your home. It's I don't care if it's in one of those little, they always have it too in like a terrarium with some kind of a top on it. And then they find out that their, 8-foot long killing machine that has the ability in the case of a spitting cobra to shoot venom at a considerable distance directly into your eyes. That's a really stupid thing to have in the home. Yeah, who could have seen it coming, mate? It just bit me on and then I got the anti-venom and oh man, it hurt. You're like, yeah, I'm sure it hurt a lot. That would be the last. But of these options, producer Mark, tigers, bears, hippos, hyena, you got to have one.
You keep asking me this.
Yeah, I know, because we like to put you on the spot and hear your grumpy noises.
I don't make grumpy noises.
That was a...
I mean, because you're asking me what ridiculous... I don't understand why anybody would want anything like that as a pet.
Well, all these people have all of them.
I don't know why.
All of them, sorry. All these people have some.
Everyone should stick to dogs, cats, maybe a guinea pig.
I've always thought guinea pigs were kind of underrated. They're pretty cute. Yeah, you don't like them? Are you their big rats? Are you their big rats guy?
Why would I want a rat in my house?
Wow. Guinea pig owners, address in the subject line your outrage to producer Mark's attention.
If I want to see rats, I just go on the New York City subway.
I think of all those animals, hippos. This is one of those fun trivia questions that everybody knows now. Hippos, I think, are the top 3 for killing people in Africa of all animals. Hippos are very
Really?
dangerous and hippos are very dangerous and very aggressive, which you don't think of because there's Hungry Hippo, the game, which probably a lot of people are playing these days. But if you get near a hippopotamus, they run pretty fast on land, and they're large, and they have tusks, and they're really nasty, and they'll do bad things to you. And in the water, they're very aggressive.
I've been compared to a hippo many a time, but I'm not nasty and I won't hurt you.
Well, and whoever said that, I will fight them for you, Producer Mark.
Well, thank you, Buck.
Yeah. Don't let the swoop fool you. I've got some skills. Matthew. Hey, Buck. Just want to let you know that my girlfriend and I have a cat that we named Bucky after the Marvel character. She started calling him Buck Sexton because I listen to you so much. We love you in North Carolina. Keep up the great work. Shields high. Well, that is a huge honor, Matthew. Thank you so much. Hopefully that cat Buck is poised, suave, sophisticated, wise, but also considerate and well-mannered. That would be a great cat indeed. Hey, Buck, all those people going after Mike Lindell, they're just jealous because they're not getting the attention he's getting, and they're not helping like he is. Shout out to all my brother and sister truckers out there. Shout out to you and Mark. Keep up the great show. Shields high. Well, Jeff, man, thank you so much for being out there on the roads and keeping us supplied. Every time I go to the grocery store here, which is really the only place, I go there and a drugstore. That's it. I got 2 places I can go to get supplies here. And every time I go, I am thankful there are stuff on the shelves, and it's there because you and your brother and sister truckers bring that stuff here into New York, even though we're under quarantine. And things here would get so ugly so fast if people really thought that there were going to be widespread shortages of essentials and staples. It would get very sketchy. Already the NYPD, this is terrible. The NYPD has, oh God, I'm trying to remember how many. I think it's 2,000, close to 2,000 officers who. Mark, do you know the numbers? I think maybe it's 1,800 officers who are out. It's some huge number of officers who are out. A lot of them have COVID-19, and a lot of others think they might. So. The NYPD is way down.
Saying at least 1,400?
15%, producer Nick says, of the overall force. The overall force is almost 40,000. So you guys can do the math on that. That's a few thousand who are out. Gosh, that's not good. Angela, hey, Buck, I'm listening to your podcast from yesterday. I'm worried about you. Sorry you're stuck where you are and you're feeling caged in. It's strange here, too, in Southern California. But at least we can drive around a little bit, which helps a lot. No destination to go to, but just the fresh air and sunlight are a nice change from being indoors. Anyway, glad you're still able to do the show. Know that we're out here listening. Take care. And this would be a really good time to start picking out what state you're going to move to when all this is over. Yeah, you're telling me, Angela. New York is not feeling like a good choice these days. No way around that. Neither New Jersey's in rough shape too. I would know because of New Jersey really is. Northern New Jersey feels like all a suburb of New York City. They don't like to think of it that way, but that's the truth. Ed, wondering if you saw Tucker Carlson's piece on Chinese doctors thinking that this Wuhan virus came from the virology lab in Wuhan. You mentioned that about 4 weeks ago. Yeah, Ed, I've been thinking this all along. As you know, I've been pretty consistent on this, and I did see Tucker's piece, and it was excellent and is asking the essential questions right now. And yeah, there you go. Team, also please do, if you haven't written in before, you guys are my Team Buck cavalry. You are the lifeline that we have to the outside world here in the Freedom Hunt. So please do send us your thoughts. Facebook.com/Buck Sexton, even if it's just a line or two. Also, we'll do another Facebook Live this week. In fact, I'll do a Facebook Live tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. How about that? Right after the syndicated show. So I'll do a Facebook Live tonight, and that will be a way that we can all hang out and talk to each other. Christy, Buck, a week or two ago, you mentioned the possibility of sporting a man bun. I would advise against that. Also, we would love to have you in Denver, Shields High. Well, thank you so much, Christy. And Denver is definitely a place when I flee the Big Apple, when this thing is over, if I flee, Denver is definitely high on my list of places that I would consider a permanent relocation to. I hear such fantastic things about Denver as a city, but it's going to have to compete. You know, there's Denver, there's Austin, Yeah, there's a few places that will be in the mix, but I do hear the most wonderful things about it. Everybody, we're going to be good. We're going to be all right. We will get through. We will endure. Until next time, shields high.